Her phone sent a location ping at 3:41 a.m. from the middle of Lake Huron. She had been reported missing 12 hours earlier. The phone was never recovered. Neither was she. Mara Chen, 29, disappeared on October 4th, 2019, a Tuesday. She had left her apartment in Alpena, Michigan at 11 p.m. Her roommate heard her car leave, assumed she couldn't sleep. By morning, car was back, Mara wasn't. The phone ping was a fluke, a glitch, investigators said. Cell towers misread, GPS interference. Except Mara's carrier confirmed it wasn't a call, it wasn't a text, it was a location share. Manual, intentional. Someone pressed share my location. Someone sent it to a contact named simply home. Divers searched the coordinates. 80 feet of water. They found nothing. But the dive team leader filed a supplemental report 3 days later, quietly, without prompting. He noted that at 81 feet, his dive light illuminated something on the lake floor. A perfect circle scraped into the sediment, about 6 feet in diameter, like something had been dragged slowly in a ring. Her contacts list showed home as an entry added on October 3rd, the day before she vanished. The number it was linked to was her own. In 2022, a woman named Brianna Forst reported her phone doing the same thing. Location share, middle of Lake Huron, contact named home. Same coordinates, to the decimal. Brianna lives in Alpena, 3 blocks from where Mara Chen used to live. She did not know Mara. They had never met. They used different carriers, different phones, different everything, except the same contact, except the same coordinates, except the same time, 3:41 a.m. Brianna Forst is still alive. She moved out of Alpena 6 months after the ping. She asked us not to say where she moved to. We won't. But she did tell us one thing. The contact, home, is still in her phone. She's tried to delete it 4 times. The new family moved in on a Saturday. By Sunday morning, their daughter had a new imaginary friend. She said her name was Clara. She said Clara lived in the walls. The previous owners had a daughter named Clara. She had died in that house in 1987. The family was never told. The house on Mercer Road sold 3 times in 18 months. Each family left without explanation, 2 of them forfeiting their deposits. Real estate records list the reason as personal circumstances. That phrase appears in all 3 files, word for word. The Holloways were family number 4. They paid below market value. They were told the house had been difficult to sell. They were not told about Clara Beaumont, 8 years old, 1987. They were not told about the crawl space beneath the east bedroom, the one that had been sealed and resealed after every previous family moved out. Their daughter's name was Sophie. She was 6. Within a week, Sophie refused to sleep in her room. She said Clara didn't like it when she slept because then she couldn't talk to her. The parents were not concerned. They were concerned 3 weeks later when Sophie told them what Clara talked about. She talked about the smell of dirt. She talked about how small it was. She talked about how she could hear the family above her for years and years and years. She said Clara used the word years. A 6-year-old does not use the word years to describe time.
Sophie had never used that word before. The father opened the crawl space on a Sunday. He told his wife it was just checking for pipes. He didn't bring a flashlight. He said later he didn't know why. He went in. He came out 11 minutes later. He did not speak for the rest of the day. The family was gone by Monday morning. We contacted the father 2 years later. He agreed to speak briefly. We asked him one question. What did he see in the crawl space? He said nothing. He said it was empty, clean, no pipes, no wiring, no insulation, just dirt. And then he said the thing that ended the interview. It wasn't what I saw, he said. It was what I heard. Someone in there was very, very happy that I had finally come. The house on Mercer Road is occupied again. New family, young couple, no children. We reached out to them for this video. They said everything was fine. They said their dog had stopped going to the east side of the house. They said they assumed it was just a dog thing. If you know that house or that street, you know where to find us.
When his neighbors finally called the police, they said they hadn't seen him in 3 months. That was a lie. They had seen him every single day, standing at his window, drawing. They just didn't want to say what he was drawing. Robert Crane, 54, retired cartographer, 30 years drafting topographical maps for the USGS. Precise work, solitary work, work that requires you to look at the same piece of land for weeks and see it completely or not at all. He retired in 2016. His wife left in 2017. His children stopped calling in 2018. By 2019, the neighbors said, he seemed perfectly fine. The officers who entered the house in January 2020 described it in their report as a library of sorts. Every wall, every ceiling, maps. But not maps of places, maps of people. His neighbors, their daily routes, timed, annotated, measured in feet. His neighbor, Dana Huron, is in 47 of the maps. The detail is extraordinary. He knew her grocery schedule, her gym days, the route she always took to her sister's house, a route she thought only she knew because she'd found it by accident years ago through a cut-through alley. It was annotated in red with the word hers. He had mapped 17 people. Some maps went back 5 years. The most detailed, a man named Thomas, who walked his dog every morning at 6:15, spanned an entire wall, floor to ceiling. It was the most beautiful map the investigators had ever seen. The detective who told us this paused for a long time. Then she said, "That's the thing that still bothers me. It was beautiful." Robert Crane was found in his basement, alive, healthy, calm. He was not arrested. There was no law he had broken. He was evaluated, released. He was, in the psychiatric assessment, described as highly functional, non-delusional, and fully aware of his actions. Fully aware. In the intake interview, he said one thing that wasn't included in the official report. A nurse told us. He said, "I just wanted to understand them. Completely. The way you understand a place when you've mapped every inch of it." Then he smiled. And he said, "They never noticed. That's the most interesting data point of all." Robert Crane currently lives in Portland, Oregon. New city, new neighbors. His current address is not public record. We confirmed he still works with maps, freelance, from home.
His new neighbors have never spoken to him, but they say he seems perfectly fine. The hotel has 22 floors. The elevator buttons go 21, 22, 24. There is no 23rd floor. There is no room 2319, except on the 4th night of every month, according to 7 separate guests who have never met, a Do Not Disturb sign appears on a door that doesn't exist. The Grand Lorraine in Cincinnati opened in 1923. 31 floors, 1,200 rooms. It has hosted 6 U.S. presidents, 2 funerals, and 1 trial that the hotel has repeatedly asked not to be mentioned. We mention it anyway. In 1978, a man was found on the 23rd floor. There was, at that time, a 23rd floor. The renovation of 1989 officially removed it. Structural concerns, the hotel said. The floor was sealed, service access only, and the room numbering simply skipped, 22 to 24, as if 23 had simply never happened.
The 7 guests who reported the sign came to our attention through a Reddit thread in 2021. None of them knew each other. None of them had been guests at the same time. They all described the same thing: checking in on the 3rd or 4th of the month, waking at some point in the night, stepping into the corridor for ice or air, and finding a door between rooms 2318 and 2320. A door that in daylight is a wall. One guest, a woman traveling for work, stood at the door for what she described as a few seconds. Her phone's timestamp showed 41 minutes had passed. She remembered nothing from those 41 minutes, except one detail she mentioned in passing, almost as a footnote, in her post. When she finally walked back to her room, her key card had been slid under her door from the inside.
We contacted the Grand Lorraine's head of security. She agreed to speak off the record. She said the reports were not news to management. She said there was a protocol. When a guest reports the door, staff are dispatched immediately. They check the corridor. They file a report noting no anomalies observed. Every time. Standard language. Every time. We asked her, has any staff member ever seen the door themselves? Long pause. She said, that's not something I'm able to speak to. We asked her what happened to the man found on the 23rd floor in 1978. Longer pause. She said he checked in on the 4th of the month. Then she ended the call. The Grand Lorraine is still open. 4 stars, exceptional continental breakfast according to most reviews. The 4th of next month is a Saturday. Rooms are available. We're not recommending you go. We're not recommending you don't. If you do, leave the Do Not Disturb sign off your door, just in case someone needs to reach you.